Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling. I am turned up for today's interview. Oh man, today's interview I'm excited to bring to you. This is another episode of Girlfriend's Guide, episode 109. This is Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry, and I'm the host, Angela Jordan Perry. And today we have Dr. Veronica Walters on here today. Woo! I'm gonna have to get like a sound effect where clapping and hollering is in the background. So you all, if you are viewing this video and this episode, let me just tell you a little bit about what this platform is. This is Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling, where I give voice to those of the African homeschooling diasporic community, those who are brown, black and brown families who are in the homeschooling or who are considering homeschooling. But for the most part, all interviewees have some connection to homeschool moms or dads, and this is basically hashtag we homeschool too. Our kids are thriving, we are enjoying it. We are married couples who are both working homeschooling, single moms homeschooling, one income homeschooling, all the things, all the different ways of homeschooling. This is the platform where you will see people who represent you in human flesh doing the very same thing that you desire to do, to give you encouragement to homeschool or to stay on the journey to homeschool. You're going to get your encouragement, your insights, creative ideas, resources, some thinking outside of the box, possibilities to enhance your homeschooling journey, okay? So just a little bit about me. I am a homeschool mom myself of 8 children, 18 years of homeschooling. 3 children we've graduated through, 5 I'm still in the thick of homeschooling. Married with my husband for 26 years, and we make our home here in the northwestern part of the state of South Carolina, where we are self-sustaining farmers. And my purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And I do that here on Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling, on the podcast, which is Girlfriend's Chat with Angela Jordan Perry, and then educating our own also. And you can learn more about that at www.eduourown.com. Okay, so I'm all things homeschooling and encouraging my own to consider homeschooling and to support you, give you the tools and resources and everything in between to help you to do so successfully. So on this platform, again, today on Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling, I have such a voice today that's going to encourage you, to give you some insights, another idea of how to homeschool and support you. So this is my special episode. It's very unique, but it's going to be very invaluable. So without further ado, Dr. V.
Hey.
Are you ready to make it happen?
I absolutely am, Angela. I'm so excited and pumped up about this interview.
All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Dr. V. Now, I am only going to read a small portion of her bio, but you make sure you go into the comments section and read her full bio, okay? So you all listen up. I need to put on my glasses because it's a lot of words, okay? So let me do it. So educator, author, motivational speaker, prophetic life and business strategist, entrepreneur, beauty queen, and pastor. Dr. Veronica J Walters, affectionately known as Dr. V, is a native of Russellville, Kentucky. The oldest of 11 children, she grew up in a 3-room house and a native of Russellville, Kentucky, with no indoor plumbing, using 5-gallon Lard buckets for everything. Where Dr. V is a first-generational college graduate. Because education was so important to her, she continued on to become a Ph.D. She received her BA in communications in 1988, her MA in 1990, and Ph.D. in 1995 at the age of 28 from the University of Kentucky. She has had the honor and privilege of teaching at several institutions of higher learning during her time in the academy, including this University of Nebraska, Lincoln, University of Georgia, University of South Florida, Tennessee State University, Hillsborough Community College, Everest University, South University and Keiser. I think I said that right. Is that Keiser?
Yeah.
Keiser University. She left higher education to pursue a mission from God to transform the educational experience for young people and introduce them to entrepreneurship at an early age. Now, Dr. V is the founder and head of school at the Walters Academy of Entrepreneurship. It's also the WAE, which is in Tampa, Florida. The WAE, or the WAE, would you say the WAE, or you just say the WAE? Okay.
Yeah.
The WAE is a private school for students in 3rd to 12th grades with the mission to teach, train them to become successful entrepreneurs and warriors using the 7 principles of the, I'm going to hopefully not mess this up, Yuzo Sabo as their foundation.
You did good.
Close, okay. Dr. V and the WAE students were recently featured on CBS Daily Blast Live to talk about their song, Save Our Children, which addressed the tragedy in school shootings. The students were challenged to think about why the shootings were happening from the perspective of the victims and the shooter. Her goal is to create socially responsible millionaires with multiple streams of income and financial savvy by the time the students graduate from high school. So that's just a little bit. It goes on. Her bio is extensive and such good. I mean, everything there. So to hear all about what she's doing and what she's had her hand in. So today, Dr. V, I have joined her on here and got her connected with Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling, because this is a different way of homeschooling. Oftentimes, Dr. V, when we think about homeschooling, we think about, of course, parent, mom or dad in their home, they're going through the lessons and they're teaching them, right? Or, as we all know who are in homeschooling, then you get connected to co-op.
Right.
But the opportunities are so, I should say, they're growing. The opportunities in the ways in which a parent can homeschool is changing. The face is changing. And so I want you to speak to that. Tell us more. If there's anything else about yourself we must know, please tell us. And then how you actually got started with the WAE and what that's all about and how that will connect to this community of homeschoolers.
Absolutely. Well, Angela, first of all, I'm so excited and honored that you asked me to be on. Like, it was so amazing to me once I sent you a friend request for you to send me an inbox. I was like, oh my God, I love her. Because, I have a lot of respect for what you do. See, I think sometimes when people think of education, we get locked into these modes where it can be only this or that. But I don't believe that. As African descended people, we've always been holistic in our perspective. And when I think of education, because I've been an educator for over 30 years now, and I've gotten to see the educational system and the problems with the educational system. For me, I wanted to do something different. I really didn't. Let me correct that. I did not want to do something different. I had to do something different. So the WAE for me is a mission and a mandate from God, because listen, I have 7 children of my own, and I don't like kids so much that I want to be around them all the time, especially not that age range. I'm just being honest. Listen, my house is the house where all the kids want to come and everybody wants to stay. Why do y'all want to be at my house, right? But this mission is because, I looked at my sons. My sons are really bright, but they're different. So my one son, Adam, 5th grade, he had an opportunity to go to this elite private school. And he took the test and scored the highest score in the history of the test. Wow. But he went to the school. It was very rigid. It was predominantly Black and brown children, but we were not the teachers. We were not the administration. We were not in control. Gotcha. And as a result of that, they were walking in lines. It was was very reminiscent to me of colonization. And so he just didn't thrive there. His grades didn't reflect what he was capable of doing. He went to another private school and still it was the same thing. He's really bright, but his grades weren't reflecting it. And I said, we're not doing this. This is unacceptable. My other son, who was in the 5th grade at the time, went to the same private school his brother went to, but he's very reserved and he went inside of himself. And I remember having a parent-teacher conference with his teachers, the head of school, and my husband and I, and the teacher said, well, he just likes to go into what I call Mackay world. What? What is that? Well, he just doesn't talk. Like, I'll be talking to him. Well, my son is like me in that he'll shut down. If you're being very combative and it's too much and it might go wrong, I'm just going to not talk, right? And so that's what he did. And after that, I knew that school was not for him. And I put him in another school. He did well, but I wanted more for them. See, what I knew was there's so much in our children that often does not get brought out in public school. And, I know my children are kinesthetic. My son, the one that they were talking about, Mackay World, he can watch a YouTube video and learn anything and tell you what it is and use incredible vocabulary, but that was not being reinforced. So I wanted to create an environment where my children could shine, especially my boys could shine, because sometimes they need a little more than the girls. Our girls tend to be sometimes more self-sufficient. And so I wanted them to understand that they're warriors. And so thus was born the WAE. And when I started it, it's like a one-room schoolhouse. Like, it really is like a one-room schoolhouse. So it's very similar to homeschooling in a way, where everybody's working on their work. It's individualized, it's strengths-based, and it's project-driven. So, they do a lot of introspection. They have to gain insight into their personality, know what their strengths are. My goal is connect their purpose and their passion to how they can make profit from that. So I always tell them, when you connect your purpose and your passion, you can create profit. And that's what entrepreneurship is for me, not for them to create a job, but for them to find a way to monetize their natural gifts and talents to serve the purpose that they were created for in the world. And when I started the way, I started with 5 boys. I don't know what it is about the boys, but I get a lot of them. And it's amazing. It's an amazing experience to see them grow and develop and blossom into, I don't know if you can say boys blossoming, but grow into these young men who are understanding more about who they are and are unafraid of their greatness, and they can talk money and business law and all of these things that people aren't expecting to come from them. They're bosses. So that's my goal, is to create bosses.
I love it. I love it. So, okay. All right. So it's twofold, right? Explain that to me. So it's twofold. One is that you actually have this one room schoolhouse, but then how can those who are not in Tampa, Florida, not in your neighborhood, not in your vicinity, connect to the WAE?
So what I decided to do this year, because we have an amazing online educational platform called Hero. The platform costs $15,000 for people to have access to it, right? So as a small school, I'm like, I can't have access to all of this and not share it. So what I decided to do this year was really make a concerted effort to reach out to the homeschooling community to figure out how we can support homeschooling parents, because I know curriculum is one of the things that people are often looking for, trying to figure out what curriculum they're going to use. And so Hero offers all of these courses, and everything is project-based. And so literally the kids would be able to take whatever courses. We would set up a program for them. They would have a coach, a success coach, to work with them and grade their work and give them feedback. But it's all about competency. A lot of times with educational platforms, it's about a grade. And for us, it's about the competency and meeting certain competencies and being able to demonstrate them in projects. So that's what I decided to do. Was I said, hey, let me reach out to someone who's an expert in homeschooling, who has, a community of homeschoolers, and say, hey, listen, this is what I have. Do you think this could help? Some homeschool parents, and thus began our connection.
Absolutely. So let me tell you, girlfriends, this is what I know. And if you have followed anything that I'm doing, I'm really about, again, making a positive impact on homeschoolers, but really mainly encouraging our Black and brown families to consider homeschooling because you're the best advocate for your children. You're
Right.
going to ensure that as you learn and you grow, and we each are growing and changing, we're going to ensure that the best part of our children blossom and grow and flourish, that they're going to go into their purpose. And that's going to look different. You know, a lot of times we have it set in our brain that like Dr. V said, that it's more on a colonized structure, and you have to make these grades, you have to do this, you got to be in these subjects and this and that and the other. And while all of that is fine because they're getting brain candy, if you will, perhaps that's not helping to bloom and to flourish and to feed and fertilize their who they are as a person and their call and purpose. So what I hear Dr. V saying, if we start at the end in mind, we want our children to look this way: free children, ability to think, to reason, the ability to find their purpose, to grow and to flourish and chase passionately in their purpose, right? So that's the end in mind. How do we get there? And so I hear, Dr. V, you're presenting this opportunity in the way for parents maybe who are looking for additional resources. Maybe they don't feel like they're competent. And I don't like to use that word because we're all competent, but maybe they don't feel very confident
Right.
in schooling their children or providing that. So a parent says, all right, I like what you have, the way that sounds great. I mean, what do they do to connect into that, number one? And then number two, on the long haul, how does that look for them? Do they continue on in grades? Do they just move on in subject matter? Or break that down for us in those two things, Dr. V.
So what they would do is they would actually just, reach out to us and let us know that they're interested. Because this is new, we're getting all of those pieces together.
Yeah.
But what I love about the platform is it's not time driven. It's not time in seat, right? So instead of it being time in seat, it's projects completed. It's establishing the competency. Once they've completed the projects, they've established the competencies, then they're able to continue on to another course. Now, for one student, it may take them a full school year to do that for a course. For another student, they may do it in 4 months. If the student finishes in 4 months, they can go into another class. There's no rule that says that you have to do this for 9 months or 10 months, which is how the traditional school system is set up. So it gives them that freedom and that flexibility. And so the parents and I would work out what they want for their children. Maybe they only want a course or two. So maybe they don't feel confident in the area of math. And so they want some support in that math area. And so their warrior would take math courses in our curriculum, and they would experience it that way. The projects, and I want to say this because the projects are amazing. You could be taking a math course, learning about compound and simple interest, and literally doing a project about buying a car. Well, for my high schoolers, that's incredible because now when they go to buy a car, they're already prepared. They've been exposed to the car buying process. They have to identify different cars, tell their price, what would the compound interest be, how much would they pay over the life of a loan. So it's not even just that they're completing the work, it's that they're learning real life practical skills. For, I think it's the middle schoolers, there's a project that deals with cell phones. And choosing a cell phone plan, right? These are things that our kids want. They want a cell phone, but how much does a cell phone cost? And how do you choose the plan that's going to work best for you? So there are a lot of real life applications where they're challenged to apply things to life. There's a moving project that our sixth graders do where they have to calculate moving expenses. How much would it cost to move from one place to another? And you've got to calculate mileage and you've got to figure all of these things out. So it's very practical and hands-on. And that's what I love about the program is the kids they don't have to ask the question, how does this relate to me in life?
Right.
Because they're getting that. In the project. The projects are showing them, oh, this is how probability works. So there's a math project for the ones that like basketball. There's a March Madness project that deals with probabilities. And so they're learning probabilities by calculating the brackets for basketball. for March Madness. So all of it is designed to make it more hands-on, more engaging, and they can choose projects in different areas. Cooking, art, photography. There are a lot of different options that they have for the courses that they take.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. So project-based focus. So they wouldn't go necessarily, would they go to this platform and then choose literature specifically, or would literature be encompassed within a project, and that's how they would learn literature?
So what they would do is they would choose the English for whatever their grade level is.
Okay.
Okay. So wherever they are, they would choose that English, and in that English, there are different projects. And then there's a sequence that they give you. This is a recommended sequence. You don't have to necessarily do this exact sequence, but there's a sequence that's set up, or you can choose projects in that area, in that course, that will also meet those requirements. And so there's and this other thing I love. So some of the projects combine 2 grades. You get competencies in 2 grades at the same time for a particular thing. So literally you're taking English 9, but you're getting some credits for English 9 and English 10 all at the same time. So you're literally doing double duty with a single project. Or they may have a world history project and they're getting world history credits and competencies and English credits and competencies and theater, like depending on what it is. So that fact that you're getting credits or competencies in multiple things means that, let me tell you, my son ended up taking psychology, not because he wanted to take psychology, but he had a project, and the project had psychology in it, and he ended up with so much work in psychology that it only made sense to go ahead and finish psychology.
Gotcha. Okay. I got it. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. It sounds good, because let me ask you this, and then I'll put it all together.
Okay.
So even as they do these courses online, these projects, I like the word that you're saying, these project-based learning, are they interacting with each other, the students at the same time?
Not necessarily. So there are some projects where they need to go into a particular group, where the students in the group may do some things together, but a lot of this stuff is independent.
Okay.
A lot of it is independent learning. Now, this is the thing that we're working on for this year. We have an entrepreneur speaker series, and we have an entrepreneurship course. Now, with our entrepreneurship course, traditionally, it's just been our students in it. So I'm excited at the possibility of opening it up so that homeschool students can actually attend the class via what? Zoom. So they can Zoom into the class, they can participate in the class, and they're able to get the information and knowledge and engage in projects and things like that, all with the kids who are in the class, and begin to build relationships and community.
Right. Gotcha. Wow. That's neat. So a mom or dad, they say, okay, I like this. I want to get started. I want to move on. How do they get started? How do they get this moving forward, Dr. V?
So this is what you do. You want to reach out to us at the WAE. You want to call us at 813-603-7923 and say, hey, I saw your interview and I want to get started. We want to talk more about it, and let's really put our heads together. I believe in creating individualized plans for students. I don't think that the one size fits all model works. I think you have to figure out what students need. Where are they? What are their struggles? What do they need? And I believe in being very honest in my assessment of whether it's going to be a fit or not. You've got to have a fit. Right? Fit is very important to me. Yeah. So even for our students, I interview them and their families. Like, we have an interview process, and I'm asking them questions, and then I give them an opportunity to ask me questions. But the interview process to see is if we fit. Do you fit, right? With our ideology, with what we're doing? Because this is what I've discovered. I discovered that people like the sound of entrepreneurship, but they don't necessarily like entrepreneurship in action. They don't like what it looks like, that it's not always clean cut, that it's messy sometimes, that it requires change, that it doesn't look like the traditional educational system. And so that can be a challenge. So I have to make sure that I have families that understand, listen, this is not going to look like that, because this is not that. So, if your student comes in and your student has been conditioned to expect someone to say, okay, do A, B, C, D, E, F, G without having to think, they're going to struggle because you have to think, you have to solve problems, and you have to learn how to be a critical thinker. But we provide you with the tools to help you do that. We'll help you do that, but it can't be, you look at it, this looks hard, I don't know what to do, what do I do?
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us also, Dr. V, what type of child or student would most thrive and benefit from this program, and what age group would this project learning, apply to?
So for the project-based learning, really, I'm looking at 6th through 12th grade. 6th through 12th grade, that's easy. We're still working on the platform for the 3rd through 5th. So, but you may have a 5th grader that's really bright, that is like, hey, we want to put them in. I had 2 5th graders who were doing 6th grade work and did well. So it allowed them to move forward and accelerate their education. So they were able to come in, understand the concepts, and do the work. But 6th through 12th grade, and we're looking for students who, well, this is how I say it. When I think about entrepreneurship, I think about the students who have trouble sitting down, being quiet, being still, following rules. They are very opinionated. They have thoughts about things and they like to express them. They're very confident in themselves and their ability. They often, though, show up as getting in trouble for talking in school. And entrepreneurs, first of all, they just don't like people telling them what to do. Don't tell me what to do, right? So they like to figure things out. So they work best in environments where they're given choices, even if the choices are limited and the choices are not real. They like to feel like they made a choice, you know? And so many times those students struggle in traditional school systems because they get labeled as problem students. They're very active, they're engaging. They like money, and they like making money. And they want to know, how is this going to help me make money?
Right.
Those students, are right for entrepreneurship, because what it does is it teaches them how to use the skill sets that they have and the things that they love. And then let's make some money. It's an amazing thing that happens, especially to boys who learn how to make money. Do you know how many women we're going to make happy in the future by teaching these boys the value of making money and being providers and how to be a man? Not that we're saying we can tell them how to be a man, but giving them a skill set that makes them able to provide, because that's often one of the challenges in our relationships, is when a man doesn't feel like he can provide, it creates issues. Well, we want them to know, not only can you provide, I expect you to provide. I remember having a conversation with my boys. I said, listen, you all better not ever say you went to the WAE and you're laying up on some woman expecting her to take care of you. You better not ever do that. That is not what we do. That is not what we produce here. And so it's also instilling values in them, a value for community, a value for family. You were talking about the Nguzo Saba, understanding that, cooperative economics is important. I teach them how to work together in creating money, understanding that you need to have this collective consciousness. This collective consciousness is what allows us to not just focus on us winning individually, which is what a capitalistic society teaches, but on all of us winning. And so our students understand, hey, teamwork makes the dream work, and we're a team. And so when one fails, we all fail. And so they hold each other accountable, because they've got to learn that you've got to learn how to hold your tribe accountable, because that's what you do when you're a true warrior.
Yeah, I love it. So I hear that you call the students warriors. Is that what the name they have?
Absolutely.
Got it. So they're called warriors. All right, so let's break this down before we, kind of just wrap this up. So if they're interested, they contact Dr. V. She gave the number 813-603-7923. Then after that, then they meet with you and you set up a consultation to see exactly what the child desires. How about I just turn it over to you? Tell us the steps, what that's going to look like for when they start, they call you, they talk with you, and then till when they get started and actually perhaps even finish, go through their whole years of schooling with you. How does that look? Take us through those steps, Dr. V.
Okay, so what we'll do is after we have the consultation and we decide what's going to work best for your student, maybe your student only needs a course or two. You just want to do a course or two. Maybe you want to do their core subjects, right? Maybe you want to do their English, math, social studies, and science through the WAE. We would set that up. We would put them in the system. I'll have a special group for my homeschool parents and families where they will be, and they will have a code. They would log into the online system. They would be able to go in, do their work. There would be a weekly meeting with a success coach. So they would meet at the beginning of the week. They would do a check-in at the end of the week and anytime in between. So as they submit projects, the projects get graded. There are we make sure that we touch them 3 times a week. We want to touch them 3 times a week to make sure that they're good, to see where they are, to do check-ins. Another thing we were doing with them is teaching them scheduling, how to set their day and schedule their time to make sure that they accomplish their goals and goal setting. As they go through the course, the parent, I'll do a session with the parents and the students so that they'll be able to see everything they need to know how to find. They'll be able to see their grades. They'll be able to see what the student is doing. They'll be able to see the projects that have been submitted. I'll show all of that because there are no mysteries. There are no secrets. Everything is open and available, and all the parent has to do is log in. But I know sometimes we get a little, like, I don't know the system. And so we get afraid of the technology, but we want to demystify technology for our parents because we don't want parents to be afraid of the technology because these kids definitely are not afraid of technology. So they go through the process. We do check-ins. They'll see their grades. We'll give them some progress reports, let them know areas that may be challenges, how they can support us in supporting their warrior, because it is a collective effort. It is not us doing all the work. And that's why I think it works really well with homeschooling, because homeschooling parents understand that there's a part they play. So a lot of times when a parent sends their child to school, they think that teachers are supposed to do everything. And that's not it. It has to be a combined collective effort. And we work together to figure out where there are challenges, what may need to be changed, et cetera, et cetera. So let's say the student goes through and they complete a course in one semester. Then we're going to sit down and figure out, what do we want to do next? Do you want to go ahead and put them in another course? Do you want them to just finish out the ones they have? And everything is combined. It's collective. We talk. We communicate about it, and we make joint decisions. See, this community thing is more important than people understand when it comes to educating our children. And so we get to the end of the school year, we do an assessment, the parent decides whether or not they want to continue. The beauty of our system is the kids can continue in the system throughout the summer. So if they wanted to do extra, they could. I literally had a student who came to me as a 10th grader. She went back to public school this year. I had her for 1 year. She went back to public school this year as a senior. So she was able to get multiple credits because of the way the platform is set up, and also the things that we do in school, because they have some in-school courses like project management, business law, and so they're able to get additional credits that way. So we work to help the family have success. And if it fits and it works for you, great. We continue on. Now, of course, there is a fee associated with it, right? And so I would talk to the parent about what would work best for them and how we can break that up for them. I don't expect people to be able to pay for everything all up front. Now, if you can, I don't argue with that. I will take it, right? But for many families who are homeschooling, they just may not necessarily have the resources to do all of that upfront money. So we would figure out a payment plan that would allow their warrior to have access and be able to have success.
Sounds good. That sounds, listen. So my motto, I always say that if you want to do it, there is nothing that can prevent you from home educating your child. Where there is a will, there is a way. And you just have to be creative and think out the box. And I believe that this platform, the WAE, is another way of thinking outside of the box to do exactly what you want to do. Bring your children home under your auspices, under your oversight, overview. And they're learning, them forming into who they are meant to be, their purpose and passion under your oversight with your hands on. And the WAE sounds like another platform and opportunity to make that happen. So here's the $1 million question, the last question, the $1 million question.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So, and I'm making this, this is not the normal $1 million question. So all of my interview, the regular viewers, you're like, the $1 million question, that's not the $1 million question. What is she asking? What is that? So my normal $1 million question, if you had to do it all over again, what would you change or what have you? But I want to ask you, if this was a platform that you're going to elevator speech, maybe it's not a question, it's a statement, $1 million statement I need from you. If you had the elevator speech to give these families, Dr. V, and say the way is the one that you need to connect to, and this is why. Give us that $1 million statement, elevator speech, 30-second, and wrap this all up in why the parents need to connect to the way.
Absolutely. You need to connect to the way because we provide you with a project-based, individualized, strength-based learning platform that will allow your warrior to tap into all of their greatness and their potential in a way that maybe you might not feel comfortable or you need some assistance. We're here to assist you. Listen, you don't have to worry about us taking your child over or changing their values, but what we want to do is provide you with that additional support that you need in order to successfully homeschool your child, your warrior, so that you can produce that socially responsible, financially savvy, economic entrepreneur that's ready to take on the world and be the true boss that they were created to be. And that is the way it's done.
All right, I like it. That is the way it's done. Listen, girlfriends, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. In this half hour, you have been hanging out with Dr. V from Tampa, Florida, giving you some insight, some nuggets, of another resource to do what you do and to bring that support. She is also going to be one of the village elders on Educating Our Own, and you can already hear she has a lot to say and a plethora of resources in which she has an identifiable voice to speak into. So you're going to find more from her on Educating Our Own. But listen, continue to connect with positive people. This is a positive resource and that I support. I have looked through the platform and I'm like, wow, this is amazing platform. And out of the goodness of her heart to give out into this community, I like the terminology you use, this collective consciousness, giving out into this and making it happen as a community, as a village, I would say, supporting and sustaining and strengthening the village through this platform. I encourage you to connect with Dr. V, to talk to her and just brainstorm, get some more insights and information that will do exactly what she just mentioned in this elevator speech. So Dr. V, Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, appreciates you and I'm grateful to you for giving up your time, your resource, this platform to support and build this village towards successful home education. So thank you so much. And God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, girlfriends. So as I always say, and I'm sure Dr. V will agree, that just remember that to teach a child is to change and touch a life. And as we homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. So keep making a positive impact day after day, year after year. And what I hear from Dr. V is exactly what she's saying. This platform shapes the future of these children to be entrepreneurs, millionaires is what she said. She is raising up millionaires. She ain't even playing about it. She didn't have no mixed words about that in her bio and what she just said. And as parents, who would want that for their own children? So you all connect with her, and her information again will be all in the show notes, the website, all of that stuff will be right there. Okay, girlfriends? All right, so till next time, this is Angela Jordan Perry with Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. Thank you so much for connecting with me, and continue to make positive impacts on other people's lives. And you be that positive resource that others can draw from and move forward, okay? Peace, everyone. Thank you, Dr. V.
Thank you.